reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Welcome to our JRPG panel. This is going to be about 40 to 50 hours long, so...
No.
So we're going to talk a little bit about JRPGs today. First, I want to introduce everybody. So, Adam, do you want to start? Introduce yourself and maybe tell us your favorite JRPG.
Can it be my own JRPG?
No.
Yeah. No?
No. This is not a sales pitch.
Come on. I almost swore. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I'm Adam Rippon. What was that? You can say shit. Oh, good shit. I'm Adam Rippon. I'm the creative director for Muteki Corporation, and I make a game called Dragon Fantasy. I'm showing it at booth 773 in the Indie Mega booth. And my favorite RPG is Lufia 2. That's right.
Some credibility with that choice. My name is Dale North. I'm the editor-in-chief of Destructoid.com, and my favorite JRPG is Xenogears. Wow, everyone's happy. I thought for sure I'd get booed out, so okay, I feel better now.
My name is Jason Schreier. I write for Kotaku, and I do the... we do a JRPG column every week called Random Encounters that hopefully you guys all read, and if you don't, go read it right now, or else I'll get really mad. And I guess, so my favorite JRPG is Suikoden 2.
Hi, I'm Alexa Ray Korea. I write for Polygon. And my favorite JRPG is Final Fantasy VI.
So it's interesting because the name of this panel is Do JRPGs Really Matter? And as I was putting it together, I realized that it's like I picked the biggest JRPG fans that I know. So the answer to that might be, well, I guess we'll get into that. I guess let me start by asking you, Adam, since you get to sit on the right. What do you think? There seems to be this opinion in general in the media, on forums, in the gamer community that JRPGs are obsolete in some way, that they're antiquated, that the mechanics are all too old, and they're kind of irrelevant in this day and age. Do you think that's true?
No, I don't think that's true. I think that there are a lot of mechanics in video games just in general that are old, and we've seen a lot, overdone, but I think that anything that's done well is still fun. I mean, you can take a game of any genre. I mean, it could be Mario, it could be a first-person shooter, it could be a role-playing game, and as long as you do it really well, it's fun. The problem is, I think that there are a lot of games out there that aren't that well done these days. Paint by numbers. We've got such long schedules that we make these games with these days that, a lot of the heart and soul is driven out of it, and we just got to cover these bullet points on the back of the box is taking the place of that. And that's what's killing, role-playing games, and it's what's killing a lot of genres of games that have issues, I think.
Dale, what do you think?
I don't play role-playing games.
I'm glad I invited you.
No, it's a lot of what Adam said. I don't think that people that play role-playing games have ever considered them to be something that's old. I mean, like everyone here, I'm assuming, is still getting down with all the primary releases. Like we were talking about earlier, asking, what the last game you played was. Did you buy Ni no Kuni? I'm gonna guess yes. If you really think about that game, the mechanics in it are pretty old. It's there's some new twist on some old stuff, but you're still walking a long way, and you're still grinding, and you're still doing dungeon crawls, and But I don't think that anyone thinks that this stuff is really old or kind of antiquated. I think that we just want to play good games, and like Adam said, if they're done right, it's fine.
So basically, all RPGs should be made by Studio Ghibli, and then work.
Armoteki. Where's the boy?
Yeah, I like. Jesus, I lost my voice last night, so you guys will just have to deal with my squeaking. I love Ni no Kuni. I like that game a whole lot, but I have talked to plenty of people who started it and liked it at first, and then just didn't enjoy it because it was slow paced, or because they found the combat system to be not as like smooth and not as appealing as they would like it to be. And Alexa, maybe you can chime in here. Do you think that there's something like fundamentally like broken, or do you think there's something unappealing to a certain group of gamers who might not enjoy that sort of slow-paced, turn-based, random encounters every so often, tons and tons of combat, really long game? Do you think that structure, do you think there's something wrong with that structure?
I don't think there's anything wrong with having a really long game. I just think that maybe a lot of gamers today aren't necessarily willing to put in the time for it. Like, you have mobile games now, you have all of these games that sort of integrate with your smartphone or your tablet, or it's, you know, a 10 to 12 hour, you know, shooter campaign or action adventure game campaign or whatever. And these JRPGs are 40 hours, 50 hours, and if you want to do all those optional side quests and get everyone's legendary weapon and blah, blah, whatever, that's another, you know, 20, 30 hours, depending on how well you're doing. So I feel like a lot of people are more into these shorter experiences because they can sort of keep up with what's coming out now, instead of having to, you know, go back after work every day and sink like 5-6 hours into like leveling up your summons or whatever. So I think it's definitely sort of a sign of these growing other markets and sort of our attention spans as gamers.
But aren't those different gamers? Aren't your people that will play JRPGs totally different from the people that want that short, you know, 10-hour experience in an action game? Or, I mean, what do you think? I think they're different people.
They are, but sort of like as things are coming out more these days, like you have like BioWare's games and you have Obsidian's games, and like those are still really long, but they're RPGs, but they're sort of shorter experiences, and I feel like the more that comes out is sort of like this race to keep up. Like Entry in Odyssey is extremely long. Ni no Kuni is extremely long, and Fire Emblem Awakening is a decently like long game. So I feel like it's a question of, do you keep up with everything that's coming out, or do you like take this one game and say, all right, I'm going to spend all my, you know, free time over the next 2 months like building this up?
That's what I've been doing with Ni no Kuni. I'm still I just got to Shadara's Castle, and I've been playing that game since I bought it day one. And, you know, I've been kind of busy making one of these damn things myself. And so I've had maybe like an hour a day to play it. And I do spend that whole hour just, you know, grinding usually. But
How far do you get in an hour?
how far do I get now? I usually clear like 3 or 4 of those bounty hunts, and then like maybe get to the next 5 seconds of voice acting, and then 30 pages of text.
It's interesting because, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the same boat as us, in that you might have grown up with JRPGs, and you might have grown up in the Super Nintendo era or the PlayStation era, and had a lot more time to spend these long games. And maybe after school you could come home and spend 5 or 6 hours skipping your homework and just playing like Xenogears nonstop. And so you might not mind as much that it's a 70-hour game. But today, for a lot of those grown-up RPG fans, it's become harder and harder for us to dedicate the time to it, which is why I am enjoying quite a bit the fact that JRPG developers seem to be flocking towards handheld systems. Like, I love that I can play Persona 4 on my Vita and like play that on the way to work every day. Like, that to me is awesome, and might be one of the solutions towards that timely, like sort of towards that problem of time and just not having the time to play and finish all these games.
Yeah, you can't complain too much if the game's in your pocket.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like it seems like a lot of publishers are pushing towards, like Jason said, it kind of annoyed me at first, Atlas's releases. Look at the new Shin Megami Tensei game that's coming out. It's a 3DS release. I want a big kind of console game, but the more I think of it, the more it makes sense that I'm probably going to enjoy this game more because I always have my 3DS on me. So
It's a very nice case you've got for it too. I like that.
That's not a JRPG, Dale.
No, it's not, but it's still cool. Yeah. Oh my God.
JRPG.
Who do I talk to for the licensing rights to that? I will make that game.
Oh,
Better, man. I'll just go talk to them.
you guys just witnessed a revolution.
AJM RPG for music.
No, don't do that.
American.
Stop.
We were talking earlier before you guys came in. You ever heard someone say, what is it?
Jerpage.
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 So if you ever hear anyone say that, please hit them.
Yeah. For the record, Tim Rogers is the guy who said that, so hunt him down. He'll like that.
But no, on the portable and being able to play it, like someone over there said, save anywhere, and that's like that should have been like a thing that was in RPGs since the beginning, and now it's stupid that it's a newer thing, but it makes a huge difference, right? That you can just save anywhere, put the game down, pick it back up, or better yet, on a portable, just close your system. It doesn't make, there was a short time there where 40 or 50 hours sounded like the worst thing in the world, even for RPG fans, but now it's good again because you can save anywhere and you can play these games anywhere.
Now, out of curiosity, when you say save anywhere, do you mean save, like save and you can go back there
Yeah, like
anytime,
pull
or do
up
you
the
mean
menu and say
and load new game?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about Etrian Odyssey 4 before, and you can't save anywhere in that one. You can suspend the game. Well, that's an interesting point that you bring up because, like, being able to save anywhere makes the game much easier than
It does.
having to. And I wonder if that's something that has turned a lot of people off from JRPGs. The fact that maybe you can only save twice in the dungeon. So, say you're going halfway through the dungeon and you die, you have to replay all of that progress. And so I'm wondering, do you guys think that can be a good thing? Do you think that there's something flawed there?
You didn't grind long enough. It's your problem.
You deserve to die.
Wow.
I'm especially interested to hear this because in Dragon Fantasy both 1 and 2 right now, you can only save the churches just because it's old school, and I very much enjoy it. But if the majority of the people here think I'm a bad person for that, I will change for you.
The ultimate panderer. So Alexa, you brought up Fire Emblem before, and I almost wonder, Fire Emblem is an RPG, sort of, it's a strategy RPG.
All these people know.
And well,
Every street pass I've gotten says Fire Emblem today. Speaking of which, I'm gonna grab a few more.
but I wonder, and it was made in Japan, obviously, but I wonder if some people wouldn't call it a JRPG because they don't think of that sort of game, that sort of like grid-based tactical game, as a traditional turn-based Japanese RPG. So I don't know. When we say JRPG, are we like, is that terminology, has that become irrelevant now? That we have so many different types of JRPGs.
I don't think that term's become irrelevant. I think it's sort of like, I feel like when I think JRPG, I think game where I'm going to see relationships happen and I'm going to see like people connect and I'm going to watch like a scrappy band of misfits like go save the world or something. That's sort of like the essence of a JRPG. It's sort of more about what happens between its characters and like its people than sort of what's going on outside of it. It could be wrapped in a bunch of different mechanics, but ultimately it's like the human side of or whatever race they have.
Yeah, it could be those cat people, but ultimately,
Wrong size.
JRPGs, to me are yes, a lot of them are Japanese, but not all of them, obviously. But a lot of it is about character relationships that you don't see in a lot of other games. Like very few American genres in general, or even other Japanese genres, don't generally cover character-to-character relationships. Like we don't know anything about how Mario and Peach interact. I mean, we got some ideas. And then there's Luigi, who knows what's going on with that. Oh yeah. I just had an idea of like a Mario-themed Game of Thrones. Somebody YouTube that.
Well, what about Mass Effect or Dragon Age or any other RPGs that are kind of character based? You can't really call those JRPGs.
It's true. And the sad reality is that I actually haven't really had much time to play much of anything lately because I'm so busy. So I've only played Mass Effect for like 30 minutes. So, and it didn't have to. Yeah,
You're fine.
Good. I'm glad.
Outside this room.
No, I won't. I see all the N7, laser things. I'm like, oh, don't hurt me. I'm sorry. I've played it.
Yeah, well, so I'm surprised that we have gone this long without talking about Final Fantasy. I mean, that's kind of a sign of where Final Fantasy is right now. But, talking about Final Fantasy. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten to the point. They just released that game, Final Fantasy All the Bravest, which is like less of a game and more of like Square Enix being like, all right, give us your money and we'll put the gun down.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy, and a lot of people did not like Final Fantasy 13. A lot of people have not been happy with 14. Was obviously a disaster. They had to reboot it. A lot of people have not been happy with the state of the series lately. What happened? And if you guys are welcome to chime in, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm the biggest franchise defender in the world. So like, just show your hands if you didn't hate 13.
Okay.
Wow. And there's less hands than I
Wait,
thought.
show your hands if
Now
you
show hands if you did. Yeah.
if you hated 13.
Yeah. So it's
like
pretty
50-50.
pretty much divided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I guess while we're polling, was 13-2 better for you? Yes.
Oh,
Wow. That's really surprising.
How many people played 13 2?
Who's excited for Lightning Returns?
is it? I don't know. I saw. I don't know if you guys have seen the new Bowser screenshots, but I saw Lightning's thong poking out, and like that's the end. It's over.
If there's no hope, then it's good.
Yeah, maybe they're just lowering expectations.
Alexa Returns.
No.
So Dale, so you think? I mean, you say you're a defender. Are you happy with where Final Fantasy is right now?
I'm not happy.
Okay.
It has to be better. It really does have to be better. But my kind of thing that I keep harping on is that 13 wasn't a terrible game. There was a lot of problems with the game. There's a lot of problems with 7. There's a lot of problems with, well, there's no problems with 6. It's a
None.
beautiful game. But there's been games in the past that had a lot of problems. But when you play the game and you finish it, you're glad that you did. I honestly still feel that a lot of
You're
people
glad that you did.
didn't finish 13.
There was a reason.
I know, I get it too. There is a reason, and it's the barrier to entry is crazy. It sucks flat out. It really does. But it's in the end, I believe it's a rewarding experience, and there's still some of that Final Fantasy team Square Enix love in there. You just have to dig for it. And I think that's the problem now. Is you have to dig further and further into these games to find kind of what was so easy to see in older games. So.
Yeah, actually, that's something I've noticed a lot. Like a lot of JRPGs, you have to play for 78 hours before you get to the first enemy, and that drives me absolutely mental. And like making the beginning of a game is really important. Like Final Fantasy VI, which I do think is probably, I think almost everybody would agree it's one of the high water marks, if not the high water mark for JRPGs ever. The very beginning of the game, you fight a battle within, 5 or 10 minutes tops. No, you're walking up through. How do you pronounce that ice town at the beginning? Because everybody says it different. Narsh? Okay, cool. I just wanted to get consensus on that because I've never heard anybody agree on it. Heard Narsh, heard Narshi. Anyway, yeah, you're fighting within moments, but there are so many games, like even Ni no Kuni, which I love, and I think we're going to talk about a little later.
Actually, can we do a really gross thing real quick and list off our favorite Final Fantasy? I hate this.
Oh God.
It's super gross, but we have to do it.
Say
Just,
6.
Yeah, what was that?
I said we're all just gonna say 6.
Yeah.
no.
Yes.
So I didn't have to run.
And true!
14.
I didn't
So
have
glad none
to
of you
run.
were saying 12.
I'm worried about this because I didn't have to run away for Xenogears, and I'm very happy. But I think I'm gonna have to run for this one, and I'm gonna say 8. It's the best. Hands down.
I
think I lost all credit.
No, maybe, but you know, I no longer respect you at all.
You said six.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this theory for a long time. Oh my god, my voice is like awful. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just really sorry. I've had this theory for a long time that voice acting has kind of ruined JRPGs because when I'm not saying that because like I'm some elitist about Japanese versus English voices, but it's more that in a game like Final Fantasy VI, when the dialogue was just the stupidest thing imaginable, you didn't really notice that as much because you were reading it and you weren't hearing it. And like if some of those ridiculous translation, let's say
You spoony bard.
like Son of a Sandworm, or
Yeah.
what's it, Son of a yeah.
Son of a submarine.
Submariner, yeah.
Son of a Sandworm was the newer one. But anyway, if any of those were like uttered today in like Final Fantasy 13, it would sound like you would want to shoot yourself. You would want to not play this game in front of anybody.
So then I take it you didn't like the laughing scene from 10?
Well, look for you in
This is the best podcast.
And so, like in 13, when the characters are saying things like "moms are tough," it's hard to accept. It's and then as opposed to Final Fantasy VI, where it's like it left a lot to your imagination, and a lot of the plots of the story, a lot of the little threads were kind of so subtle that you could figure them out and read between the lines. Like there was a whole thing of Shadow being Realm's father that was never actually officially confirmed, but it's like if you played enough, you could figure it out. Yeah, sorry to spoil this game.
Sorry, guys.
I think you're
We're
fine.
not play.
It's only what, 18 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not long enough.
Or status too.
Yeah.
Actually, out of curiosity, Final Fantasy IV, you know, the original version had no voice acting, but the 3DS remake did have voice acting. And now that I think about it, they did voice act this. Did they do the Spoony Bard line in the remake? I can't remember, because I think I'd remember. No? Oh, yeah.
Maybe
It's
it's
probably
like
for the
that.
best, but, well, yeah.
How was the voice acting in the 3 years? In the DS?
It was, I mean, it was sort of passable, but it drove me nuts because I always pronounced Cecil as Cecil, and then they called him Cecil. And there's something very not that, like, Cecil is manly. Cecil, I'm Cecil. I do these fighting things, and it's amazing. And then Cecil is, you know, maybe if they'd done it Cecil in the beginning, and then when he tried to do a paladin, he became Cecil. That would but yeah, what do you guys think about for the original and for the remake with the voice acting? I saw that guy raise his hand. You want to say something?
I was gonna say, well, like, one that had really good voice acting, like maybe Persona 4 Golden. Like, that made that game.
Yeah, they don't mess around with the localization of personas. They don't. I mean, they don't take that lightly. It's a super serious thing. I wish it was a super serious thing for Square Enix. It's a high budget thing for Square Enix, the localization and the voice work, but that doesn't necessarily mean good. It doesn't. It's we were talking earlier before you came in. It's not. It's like our best interests aren't at heart there. You know, the production value is. I mean, they want it to look good and sound good, but they don't really. It seems like they care less about what we're going to think of it, and that sucks.
And it's interesting because if you ever replay Final Fantasy IX, you'll notice that the dialogue is just like so good and it's so well translated and well localized and very smart. And when you compare that to 13 or 13.2, where they're talking about paradoxes and all that nonsense, time paradigm paradox and dream drop distance, whatever. It's just such it's night and day. It's totally different, and I wonder if it was the Square Enix merger that kind of was the beginning of that decline, or something else. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's a good question because I mean, like, Enix's translations I've always thought were pretty good. Like with the Dragon Quest games, even up through now, they've got some very good, well-written dialogue. With I mean, you know, it's like reading Train Spotting or something with a lot of those because of the accents. So I don't think it's because of Enix. I think, but maybe it's because they laid off a bunch of people when they merged. I don't know.
So much of the team was, yeah.
I know Ted Woolsey works for Microsoft now.
Right. The good old days. So switching gears a little bit more, I wanted to talk a little bit about combat systems in JRPGs because there are a lot of different types of combat systems, and they all have their kind of pros, cons. Some people like some better than others. Some people will say, I will never touch a turn-based JRPG, but they're happily going to play like a more action, Secret of Mana-esque JRPG. So, Alexa, let's start with you. Do you want to talk about maybe your favorite combat system and what works? What makes a combat system work for you?
My favorite, all right, I have two. My two favorite combat systems are the 10-2 Dresssphere system and 13's battle system.
Yeah. 13.
13 was a great story delivered poorly with a really awesome battle system.
Great story is very strong word.
It's a good story, but I wish I didn't have to read all those data logs.
Those damn apostrophes in all the words.
And the apostrophes are a problem.
Did you notice that the data logs would like spoil things before they happen?
Yes, they would.
Yeah. Okay.
It happens in
That's
13
very
too
good.
as well. People
It's
do
so
that.
weird. It's like the one team wasn't talking to the other team, so the data log team was like doing something totally, they're in their own world, which is like, again, Square Enix like personified right there.
Yeah, it's hard enough making an
I hope there's
RPG with a
nobody
team
from
of
Square Enix in the audience right now. Anyway, sorry.
I was looking actually.
No, 13, I think what made 13's battle system was it gave a lot of, you had the opportunity to sort of move through the Crystarium and really sort of customize how you want everyone to fight, and it moved very, very quickly. Like, you weren't like sitting on anything, like those big, when you went and tackled like an Adamantoise or anything, like you didn't have to. You could sit there and keep hitting attack and have it auto-chain, but you also had the ability to very quickly sort of flip through the menus. I thought the menus were really easy to navigate, and I just thought it provided a really satisfying combat experience. And like, the Dresssphere system from 10-2, obviously I'm a girl and I like pretty things, but I thought sort of having that option to switch those job classes instantly and alter your battle strategy like instantaneously was a really, really, really good thing. So I'm super happy that they're including that with the 10 HD remaster, because that's an awesome game.
Yeah, you guys saw that yesterday, right? They announced it. It's, to me, good news.
Yeah.
Adam?
Oh, I thought we were
You wanna
going in
talk
order.
about your favorite?
My favorite battle system?
I haven't thought about it yet.
Oh, okay. So you're just skipping. Okay, I gotcha. Well, I think
You're not allowed to name your own game.
I'm not doing that. But it is the best ever. I'm going to go with two also. Actually, I kind of want to do three, but I might. Chrono Trigger, I think, has one of the... Yeah. Chrono Trigger, I think, has an amazing battle system that never gets really done by anything else. I've not seen any game that is like that spatially aware and team oriented like that, which is a shame, and that's why I'm doing that. But also, I will always have a special place in my heart for the Lufia 2 battle system because it's just so like they just flip back and forth. It's really fun to me. And then if I'm gonna toss in a third one. I really liked how I liked all the game mechanics in Final Fantasy V the best out of all the Final Fantasy series. I think that actually is it time for me to do my rant about active time battle? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Cool. While I've been building my game, Dragon Fantasy 2, coming to the PlayStation Vita this summer.
You're gonna have to start paying us.
Yeah. Buttons. I got buttons. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So I started out by building a battle system that had active time battles, and then I realized that active time battles might be the thing that I hate the most about role-playing games since 1992. Because, when I go back and I play a role-playing game on like a Super Nintendo emulator, ZSNES or SNES 9X or whatever, when I'm doing these battles in Final Fantasies 4 through 6 and Chrono Trigger and everything, I'm holding down the fast forward button the entire time because I'm waiting for those fucking bars to fill up. And I think it really slows, battle systems down. So that's why I'm not doing that in Dragon Fantasy 2. I got a straight up turn-based battle system. You can mash that button as fast as you want. So in a lot of ways, I like the earlier Final Fantasy battle systems a lot too, like Final Fantasy 3, the Japanese 3, the Nintendo one, or Famicom, if you're nasty. I don't know why that's so funny to me. I enjoyed those because I could just, do it and get it over with. And that's something that drives me nuts in Ni no Kuni is waiting for those little meters to fill back up.
Or you could be developing your strategy.
I could be, but my strategy is usually kill everything. Kill, murder, kill.
It's a lot in how you approach a game. So for me, battle systems, it's not necessarily like if there was a favorite, again, Xenogears, that type where you have a lot to do. You can play with combos essentially. If you ever played the Super Robot Tyson OG, God, it's the longest thing in the world, but it's the same type of battle system where you have a selection of moves, and it's kind of gratifying to see the moves played out, and kind of like a fighting system. But I don't know. I'm an equal opportunity battle system lover. If you drill all the way down to like Phantasy Star 2, God, I'm dating myself. Phantasy Star 2. Well, you're supposed to do it.
Every single person in this room is 90.
It's like the classic menu. It's your turn now, it's your turn now, it's your turn. Then it's the enemy's turn. I don't even have a problem with that. So I don't, there's not going to be too many battle systems that I dislike. But I'm all for the new stuff. And so we were talking about 13 earlier. If you get into it, that's a very gratifying battle system. It's really fast paced. There's a lot of strategy to play with, a lot of options. So I'm not going to find one that I dislike, but I'm all for the new stuff.
Yeah, actually, I'm curious. Does anybody have any battle system that they actually hate?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too.
Which one? 8?
What?
12. Lost
Someone did you say theater
That's interesting.
Yeah, rhythm.
Theater rhythm. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone said 12. I heard that. And
12.
12 was terrible. I hated
It's
12.
pretty bad.
So okay, this is gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. I did not like the battle system in Xenoblade.
That's fair.
Because I expected something more like Xenogears, but it's a little too MMO for me. But getting back on the positive side, I was trying to think just now of my favorite battle system, and my mind just keeps going back to the Lunar series. Because I feel like those games, it was very, very fast-paced, very challenging, and it never felt like battles were ever a waste of time. It always felt like you had to do something interesting to get by. You had to use some abilities. You can't just mash A, or you would probably die. So
But there's a counter, right?
no, the encounter rate was crazy, but you could see them all on the map,
Right.
so you can get by them. So that makes up for it a little bit.
There's a dude there who's got his hand up. Do we want to see what he's got his hand up for?
What's up? We're gonna take questions.
Or is he just
if you want to. Yeah. We'll take questions in
Okay.
10, 20 minutes or so. Another aspect of this conversation that we have to talk about is the nostalgia question, because the argument that gets brought up a lot is that, oh, you only like JRPGs because you grew up with JRPGs, and if you hadn't grown up with these systems and kind of when we're younger, when you're a kid, you put up with bullshit in a video game a lot more. So if enemies are attacking you, invisible enemies are coming out of nowhere and changing the screen, and suddenly you have to fight them, you're willing to accept that a lot more than you might be as a critically thinking adult. So you've got to think although invisible encounters have become a little more relevant these days. You can't really find them much of anywhere. Well, I guess they are in Dragon Fantasy.
Dragon Fantasy Book 1 has
Book
invisible
one.
enemies, Book
Okay.
2, and they're on the map. It's, you know.
Good choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate them, the invisible enemies, so I hate invisible enemies, yeah. I
So
want it.
why
Did I do it?
So invisible enemies were originally created because on the NES for games like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, there just wasn't the RAM, there just wasn't the capability to put these monsters on the screen. So now, I mean, you gotta think that those same designers would be like, yeah, fuck that. So why do you like such a broken system?
No, I don't like it. I do like seeing the enemies. No. Don't think I'm not mentally ill. Yeah, no. The only reason I did that in Dragon Fantasy Book 1 was because I did not have a budget.
Same problem.
Yeah, it very much was. I built that game in 5 months, you know. Okay, I could go into the story behind the development of that game, and we could talk for an hour easily, so I won't. But if anybody wants to hear it, I won't shut up, so talk about it. But yeah, no, monsters on the maps and seeing them, I think it's very, very important. I mean, you guys are doing that, right? Everything now, yeah. So yeah, we're all on board with monsters on the map.
So I wonder if, like, even besides that, even just like the standard traditional, you get a menu, attack, defend, item, spell, whatever. Is that something that can only really be appealing to people who grew up knowing how to use that system? Can that ever be appealing to someone who is maybe grew up playing other games or didn't has no familiarity with it?
Well, have you ever met anybody who started playing video games in their 30s? Like, I think any video game genre is hard for somebody to get into when they don't play it until they're an adult. And I had an interesting anecdotal experience yesterday with a kid who was like 6 years old who came over and started playing Dragon Fantasy Book 2 at my booth and would not let it go. And his dad came over and he was like, Billy, hey, Billy, we gotta go. And then he just gave up. And then he came back 5 minutes later, Billy, come on, seriously. And I'm always really interested to watch kids play my games or any other games in this particular genre because I see like an 8-year-old kid. I'm like, can 8-year-olds even read? I didn't know. I mean, I don't have kids, so I'm not that. It's been a long time since I was 8. But then I remember that I started wanting to make RPGs when I was 14, and that's not that much older, so. I don't know.
Well, I think sort of, and I might make some people very angry here, I don't think there have been any JRPGs in the past few years that have been sort of like gateway RPGs. Sort of like we had, like you were saying, like Lunar and like Final Fantasy VI and stuff like that. And I don't think in the past couple of years there have been any RPGs that have been released that sort of appeal to the current generation. Like I have a sibling who is 15, and he hasn't, like, he was born and then, like, something came out, what did it, like, Call of Duty started coming out. So that's what, like, he started playing, so he's, like, a shooter kid. Whereas, like, I'm, 25, and I've been sinking most of my time into this really old JRPG called Valkyrie Profile. Wow, I didn't know a lot of people like that one. And just sort of like, I feel like someone, like when he's 25, I don't think he's going to be doing that because he hasn't really, nothing has come out that has sort of appealed to him and been like, oh, I should probably check out JRPGs. Obviously, I didn't play Valkyrie Profile when it came out, but I've been going back to it, and I just think that's something that is upcoming generation.
Ni no Kuni.
You think so?
I think it could be appealing. I think that could be a good entry level. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think Ni no Kuni could be a good entry level?
Children with the attention span of goldfish, though.
That is true. These kids these days.
I mean, like,
Mobile games.
we keep kind of like framing these newer RPGs as something that wouldn't be approachable for kids, but I see kids like killing it at shooters. Like I'm old. I don't have that proficiency that they have in shooters, and they're doing all this technical shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they should just be able to look at some menus and pick an option.
the boom headshot option.
I think it's slow for them. I think is the problem. The whole genre is just really slow. I don't have a better word for it.
Should it be faster? Should there be games that are? I'm thinking of. I mean, almost. Well, Final Fantasy 13 is slow in the sense that you don't really like get to know everything until like 10 hours in, right? You can't really do everything you can possibly do in combat until some 10 hours in. But
Action is fast.
right, the action is fast and the cinematics are fast. Like it starts off here on a train and somersaulting and all that bullshit. That's the type of game. I mean, could that like get a child in? Could that?
I think so.
a kid?
Well, I would like to think so. Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. I had a tweet.
Rude.
I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna read it, but it's good.
So clearly, it's not just kids who have no attention span.
Yeah,
really.
I'm sorry. It buzzed.
Should we do?
Did you see it? It buzzed.
Okay, so I think we're gonna start taking questions. I think we have a microphone.
Somebody has a microphone.
You have a microphone over there that you can kind of throw around. Just chuck it. Then you can
Oh.
throw it.
So who wants to be our microphone bitch?
Is there an enforcer or someone who can pass around? Is there an enforcer who can?
Is there an enforcer in there?
The first person just takes it and they'll hand it down.
Okay, yeah, I guess just pass it to the next person.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Hello? Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing? Love this structure, by the way. You're talking about RPGs for children. What about the millions of children that play Pokemon every release?
We talked about that earlier. We talked about it at breakfast, actually.
Because, I don't know, I run a game store and I see thousands of kids buy this thing every year. And, I don't know, that seems to be the perfect gateway RPG to me.
It is. It's a straight up RPG.
Yeah, when I showed Dragon Fantasy at Minecon,
Punch each other. Start a fight.
Pokemon kicked it off.
yeah, everybody wants to talk about Pokemon, awesome. When I showed Dragon Fantasy at Minecon in 2011, I want to say, I got for those who don't know, the first game, and both games actually, is about a 46-year-old bald guy who used to be an RPG hero, like spiky-haired protagonist kind of guy, and is now retired. And has to get back into it. And so when I went to Minecon and they opened the doors and 4,000 12-year-olds come running in, and I at the time I thought Minecraft was something that 30-year-olds played, I just
Minecraft's
assumed,
huge.
because I'm 30, or I was. Now I'm 32, so old. Oh my god. They all poured in. I was like, shit, these kids aren't gonna want to play my game at all because it's 8-bit looking and it's a bald guy, and they came up and they were like, "It's Pokemon! Oh my god!" And I was like, "Thank God, yes!" And yeah, Pokemon is a huge appeal, and so we were talking about the appeal of the collection game card, collecting things.
Yeah, it's in everything.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like a lot of those, freemium games have the same psychological appeal with the, you try to get as many things as possible. So, I guess what we have to do if we want to appeal to kids more is just have as many possible things you can check off on a list.
Well, they have to be cute.
Yeah, really cute things. Yeah. And
So we have a ton of questions, so I think we should try to
yeah,
answer.
sorry, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So going back to the question about entry level for younger people, so I started with FF6, but I also played Earthbound and Secret of Evermore and Super Mario RPG, which are all kind of lighthearted RPGs. So I'm wondering, like nowadays I see all these serious ones, Save the World, Kill Dragons. It's all kind of like formulaic and very Japanese. Do you know of any current titles that are similar to those kind of lines to maybe persuade people that they can be more lighthearted?
Well, there is a Paper Mario series now.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I think Nintendo just announced a new Mario and Luigi RPG that's coming out later this year.
Come over here, I have a button for you.
That always feels like a good entry level, those Mario RPGs.
Yeah. Oh.
I hear Cthulhu
Saves the World is really good.
Yeah. I thought you might say that. Yeah.
No, actually, I have a 12-year-old daughter who's way into RPGs, and she can imagine there's pretty much every RPG at my house, and yet she'll see me playing Ni no Kuni, and it's like, oh, that looks pretty, but then she'll go and play Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger, and I think there was something timeless about a lot of them. They've gotten really complicated. But my question to the panel is, what would be your ultimate dream RPG? If you had $100 million, you could make anything, what would it be?
Final Fantasy VI HD. Full CGI, full voice acting, opera scene, live action.
That is the worst idea ever.
I'm in love with you now.
Have you heard Square Enix's voice acting recently? Like you really want like the moms are tough in Final Fantasy VI.
Something with corgis and hamburgers or something. Something really cute and silly. I think you know exactly what game I want to make.
Thank you. Millions of people will play MMOs. Yeah. And they will raid for weeks, months, years, doing the same content over and over and over again. What's the discrepancy between that and steadily leveling up your characters in a JRPG over time to reveal a very compelling story?
Well, you're with other people. You can compete with other people. You can like have this sense of camaraderie. It's that just adds so much to it. The fact that you're playing with other people. I mean, I think there's a certain appeal to that.
For some people, it's interesting you should say that because I hate playing games with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Other people are
Psychopath like Adam.
By the way, I want to say that was excellently delivered question. Your timing was beautiful. You should be a video game voice actor.
You can be in Final Fantasy VI HD.
I would love that.
Can you try saying moms are tough?
In a female voice or a male voice?
Whatever you want.
No one can deliver that line.
Moms are tough.
It's about on par with Square Enix.
Who are you cosplaying as?
Young Cat.
Nice.
So when you guys were talking before about portable RPGs, I get really excited about them because I really don't have time for big console releases anymore. But I'm also scared because portable device, like exclusive just for games, they're dying. So do you think, are they gonna make these handheld RPGs like on cell phones anytime soon?
Well, they did it for The World Ends With You, and that worked out pretty well.
I did see that, but like I'm talking from the ground up, build like a brand new RPG and then not smash a controller control onto a touchscreen.
Sorry, but I've got something
You
coming.
might want to leave now.
Hey, you're that guy who's my doppelganger, aren't you? Yeah, there he is. I recognize the guy from Twitter again. Sorry, I got distracted. It's because I make mobile RPGs and I have the attention span of a gnat. I know that there are several people who are making RPGs for mobile phones, and we've developed them from the ground up for that. And a lot of us have had to stop because it's really, really hard to sell a game and make a living selling a role-playing game on a phone where people only want to spend 99 cents or nothing. I'm always going to keep doing it, as long as I can, but good God, if you want to play role-playing games on a phone, spend the $20 that Square's asking. It's so hard to make a game that takes like hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a role-playing game, and when you have to sell it for $3 and people are like, why isn't this 99 cents? It makes you want to put a bullet in your head. Sorry if I went on a rant there that ended in violence, I'm sorry. I did that to the girl in the cat ears.
Also, I don't know if I agree with the premise that handheld gaming is dying.
I don't at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, the 3DS was dying, and then it kind of rocketed up and sold some 30 million copies or 30 million units or something like that. And the Vita is Well, let's not talk about the Vita.
Well, no, but seriously, with the Vita, you know, press drop in Japan, it rocketed up like crazy. All it is it's just too expensive.
Yeah.
Buttons for life.
Yeah, buttons for life. I read that article that Kim wrote about how buttons are dead, and I wanted to try, but buttons are alive.
Do you think that like the overall quality of like JRPG narratives has like gone down or like mutated over time?
Narratives, did you say?
Like yeah, narratives. Like all the way like the Super Nintendo, PS1, and PS2 era games had like kind of really relatable and like, relatable characters in more like solid original settings like Skies of Arcadia. And, like they actually like had an idea for a setting and they went with it. Whereas like I feel like new JRPGs, like especially this era, like they're either like super focused on like being really, really anime, or they're like Square Enix, like we're just adding more freaking swirls on all of the buildings for no reason.
How many shirtless male protagonists can we put in one game?
Like, there's like nothing realistic, and like, they get really caught into their own settings these days, and it just kind of like, okay, what is this art direction? Why don't you just like put it in a fantasy setting that's like a little bit more not esoteric?
You played Persona 4?
Yeah, the Persona series is doing really well with it.
That's what's holding us up. Like, I hate to say it, but that's JRPGs right now.
Persona is saving the genre.
I feel like it. Yeah.
I can